How are you doing there, folks? Really so much we could chat about. Indeed, really, there is so much to say and share. And one of the things I was thinking for myself that I feel from, is this idea of loneliness and comments that I read on my videos about other people sharing their experience of loneliness and also just a challenge of being, a challenge of existence, okay, and whatnot, and many other beautiful comments. I mean, just so poetic. The way that some of you write, or just the way, the heart space that a lot of you come from is just so it's so wonderful. It really is. It's just, I think we all have something so unique and divine, and something so special, and something so tailor-made, and something so heartfelt, and just really good stuff. And really, we really have such gifts to share with one another. We really do, and there's such heartfulness to share with one another, and such insights to share with one another. And it's just, for most of us, we go without that daily sort of just that deep connection with one another, that real connection with one another. We really do. And so when we do connect with one another, just in the comment section on some of my videos or some other places, it's like a breath of fresh air. There's something so marvelous about it. There really is. And so comforting, isn't it? It's so comforting. It's so comforting knowing that, others out there are having similar experiences, where some of them might be unpleasant or whatever it is, or challenging, and some experiences that are easygoing and joyful and whatever it is. It's just nice to know. There's a lot of comfort in it. It's great. And there's so much support in it. It's just amazing. It's like we really help each other further self-actualize. We really help each other to make it more real for one another, and make it more sacred, and make it more rich, and make it more deep, and make it more meaningful for one another. I mean, we really do. And why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? I mean, we are on this far out journey. Okay. I mean, really far out. And in the wilderness at times, in the desert sometimes, whichever the environment, whatever it might be, metaphorically speaking, we're in these environments. And sometimes it feels like you against the world, or me against the world. And the challenge is real. And it's taking everything that I got. Okay? I don't know where I was going with this point, but okay, I know where I'm going, but to know that you're not alone on the journey. Okay, yes, maybe you don't have people in your proximity. I mean, I've read some people's comments where they literally have nobody. Okay, and which is very possible. Yeah, very possible. I mean, in their proximity. It's completely understandable. Alright? Because for many different reasons. Okay? And yet, all of us have people in our lives to certain degrees, so we are surrounded by people, especially wherever we go. Okay, but obviously we're not connected with them. Anyways, I don't really lose my train of thought. But for some people, we really are, on our own, in a way. And what I'm saying is that it's and for some of us from time to time, if not all of us from time to time, right? Where the people maybe that you do rely on, that you do connect with, maybe just are going through their own stuff and just aren't present or something or other, right? Or people in your own life that aren't going the depths as you are, or not as consistent as you are, not as serious as you are, okay? And so sometimes they're not available, okay? And so you're on your own. And the thing is that at the end of the day, we're all on our own anyways. Okay, we're born alone and we die alone. And we have this experience of life as complete unique individuals. Again, in our own particulars. Me being a male, a white male in South Africa, Durban, I'm going to be 38 in July, right? The country that I was raised in, the star sign that I have, whatever it is, you know, all of that, my particulars, and then seeing the world with those particulars through these eyes, right? Feeling the world through this heart, thinking about life and reality with these thoughts and brain, you know, if that's where thoughts are, that's where we just assume thoughts may be. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I'm intaking and experiencing the world from my observation, not the Aaron observation. In a way, the Aaron, I mean, just for matter of speaking, but from the soul or spirit observation, okay, standpoint, let's say. Okay, and so the reality is being filtered, my experience is being filtered through my particular personality, story, skin color, you know, that's all the particulars, whatever it is being filtered, and through my tastes, you know, through the five senses, and then to the spirit, if you want to call it. Just like my dreams at night, you are not with me in my dreams, okay? I dream alone. And so what I'm saying is that we are alone to a certain degree from the observer point of view experiencing this reality. No observer is the same. In a sense, what we are all of the same source and I don't know, this sort of source and substance, but we differentiate it in a way, okay? And I think we still differentiate it in a way beyond just ego mind as well. I don't think that when you pass on from this life, you're just consumed into the all-beingness and whatever it is, and there is no separation. Okay. I could be wrong about it, but who knows. So, but for the time being, I mean, what I also think, and I've been meaning to upload this the suggestion for people to watch this video with Jeffrey Mishlove and Moody, what's his name, on near-death experiences. I'll have to upload that video, but when they talk about how bizarre the afterlife may be, like we can't comprehend what it's like. So, I mean, I'm using words here to kind of say, well, essentially, even without ego mind and just being in spirit, we're still not absorbed into the all source of essence of everything. You know, there is still some separation. I mean, I'm using words for that, but we cannot contemplate or comprehend what that might be in this limited form that we are in, which, you know, which is also fine unless one does have a near-death experience or one does take psychedelics to that degree, you know, and where they have that kind of experience. Okay, but let's just say for now, what we're working with is our particulars, and what we're working with is from the soul observer, and what we're doing with is that we're interpreting and interacting with the world and understanding the world through our own dimension. Okay, and that's what it is. And so essentially we are alone in a way, but I don't think that we are alone in a different angle is with the divine, with the, you know, the great mother or father, if you want to call it, or the logos or something, the universe or God. You know, we're not, or the angels. There is a feeling, there is a sensation that there is more to than what meets the eye. Because if there wasn't, I'm not saying just meaning, but that we're in a relationship with something that we can't describe, but we know it's there. Because if we didn't, we wouldn't carry on. That's what I'm saying. We would have no faith just to carry on. Because faith is essentially what motivates you through the chaos, through the meaninglessness. And a lot of the time you can't make meaning out of it. But the meaning that you have is a sensation of faith, is a sensation of applying will in this world into actuality, to commence on this journey, or to move forward on the journey, to evolve through the wilderness, because you know that there is something else beyond the wilderness, where it is a destination almost, some lack of a better word, a destination to get to. Okay? And so we wouldn't be able to make the journey if inherently we didn't feel something. We didn't feel that maybe, just maybe, there is something that more than what meets the eye. Okay, more than this physical reality. Alright? Maybe there's something more. And just with that maybe, and not only just that there is something more, but that in a way, that this something more is intelligent. You follow? Is intelligent. Like, it's not stupid. It's not stupid. It's not naive. Okay? It doesn't have the run by the same principles, or have the same things, or like same emotions, instead of jealousy or envy or greed or something like that. This something, it doesn't have those qualities in a sense. Alright? It's beyond all of that. And so, what am I saying? I'm saying quite a lot here, and it's late at night, I can see I'm going to lose my train of thought. And so it doesn't have these qualities, so it's intelligent. Okay? And whatever its plan is, this is so hard to come to terms with. It must be a bloody good plan. It must be a brilliant plan. Like, I mean, one of these plans, one of these stories, which, if you had to see how it would be arranged, you would just be marveled at it. You know, sometimes when I read like some poetry by different people, but in particular Oscar Wilde, and I'm just thinking to myself, the brilliantness of this, the exquisiteness of these words, the elegance of these words, the way they put together, the depth of these words. You know, even sometimes a Charles Bukowski or something, recent reading for myself. It's like such genius behind it. Genius, you know. And so the plan, that's something, the plan that we are a part of, is genius in its making. And it feels bloody real. And the stakes are very high. You know, let's see how much. I've got to get a separate time recorder. Okay, 13 minutes I've been speaking for roughly. So, it's intelligent. And another thing which is very difficult is that it's very loving. It's unconditionally loving, and that's, you see, it's very hard, again, like I spoke about in my last talk, it's very hard to comprehend the brutality of our existence, the duality of it, right? And also the joys and the blissfulness and the opportunity of it. There's no question about it, but the fact is that you are tested to your limits, right? You are tested to your limits. It's very hard to understand. It's such a kind of tough love in a way. And the stakes are so high. And so it's so hard to come to terms with. Like, you would think to yourself, would you ever do this to somebody you loved? Or what is it that is really being done to us? Or we chose to be a part of, or that we, are going through? Is it, would you choose it for somebody else? You see, we can't make that choice. Although you have seen in other people's lives when they've had some kind of ego meltdown in a way because of some trauma or tragedy or something like that happened that was harsh, like some illness fell upon them, financial loss, the loss of a loved one, something happened to them tragically, and what happened was they actually turned into a much nicer and better and wholesome person. I mean, you've seen it, and I know it. I mean, like I've said, I had kidney stones, and it in a way saved me in so many ways because I changed my diet. I mean, it was a warning to me, severe warning, but it helped me. So it's like, in the oppression, in the adversity, is the necessary medicine. It's the bitter medicine. It doesn't make sense. It's very hard to make sense, because also emotionally that's very hard to manage, on an emotional level where you feel it's very personal, right? It's very hard to manage the emotions and the sense of not feeling like a victim. It's very hard to not have your emotions hurt. It's very hard to not have your emotion, for you to not deny your emotions at the same time, to be in control of your emotions, to not be overwhelmed, to not be in fear, right? It's very hard. It's very hard to control these things, alright? And so what I'm saying is that when we're in the thick of it and we feel victimized, when we feel the bloody loneliness, and we're feeling when bad things are happening or the challenges is like ridiculous, we say to ourselves that we can't understand it from an intellectual or emotional level. But then there's that small hint, within those moments of like, just carry on. This too shall pass, and something great will come out of it. You say, what kind of demented sort of system is this? That out of suffering comes awareness, comes consciousness. It's like, but again, it's with intelligent design, and I can say that. I can talk it, but I can't walk it, folks. I can't walk it. It's not something easy for me to walk. Let's do stop. It's not easy for me to walk it. It's not easy when you feel so vulnerable, when you feel so exposed, when you feel so raw, when you feel like it's you against the world. It's like you against the world. I mean, you just hope and pray, that when you really are in the lowest of the lows, that you are able to get through by your own grace, and by the grace of that something that has a plan for you. Like, isn't that crazy? I don't like to use that word, but isn't that unfathomable, that the universe in all its glory, in all its magnitude, in all of its planning, in all of its ancientness. I mean, who knows how old it is? Who knows how many other civilizations have lived on this planet? Who knows what else is going on in other dimensions? Who knows what's going on? And yet, you've been singled out to have a plan. I mean, it's the same, I imagine it's the same kind of plan that everybody has, is that to get back to the source, to become self-actualized, soul-actualized, to fulfill the potential, the creativity, for that to come out, the novelty of your existence. You all part of something, all part of that plan, but ultimately we're all working or moving towards the ultimate, whatever that may be. That's the destination in a sense. But it's like, well, how are you going to get there? What is been tailor-made for you to get there? Like, who wrote this out? Who planned this out? I mean, in all the billions of people on this planet that are currently alive and that have been before, each one of us has a plan. I mean, that's a lot of paperwork, folks. That's a hell of a lot of paperwork. That's like, where do you put that all? I mean, maybe computers or something. I mean, you're going to get far out, but you know what I'm saying. And not only that, but the idea, which is ancient, that you can pray to, let's say, God, and he or she or it or that something, whatever it might be, not beyond words, will hear you. what are you talking about? You know, if you're working in a company, and I'm sure most of you are, and you want to talk to the CEO about something, you know, you don't stand a chance at all. You don't. There's no way. Forget about it. Who are you? A lot of the time. I mean, or you've worked in companies where, you know, the boss was in another building and surrounded by PAs and secretaries and, you know, calendared. I mean, you'd have to book a 3 months, whatever, you know, meeting type in only 3 months' time, and then you might get 20 seconds to plead your case, and then that's it. You know. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, when there were kings and queens and emperors and the I don't know, what do you call it, the people, the peasants wanted to talk to the kings and the queens about their problems, and the king is going to be interested, or the emperor is going to be interested. But here's an idea that you can pray and that something will hear you. Something hears you all the time. It's very, very, very bizarre. Not only that, but simultaneously there can be 1 billion people praying, let's just say, and they're all being received at the same time. You know, we're only trying to understand technology. I mean, we've seen what technology is capable of. Like, we've seen what the internet can do, right? We've seen like what it's. I mean, how fast the internet works. Like how many people are in the internet? 3 billion. And if, let's say, even 1 billion are accessing the internet at one time, and they're all pulling the information out of the internet, everybody's getting all the different information. It's like that couldn't have been conceptualized or even understood or even comprehended at all. Impossible 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, I don't know. But it's incomprehensible. So technology is showing us something that's very magical, that's something metaphysical. Absolutely, I'm sending this video to you now across the world. You know, it's unfathomable. You can't understand it. So what I'm saying, obviously, is that we need imagination, right? Or we need faith to understand that this setup is with intention. It's calculated. It's worked out. I mean, yours, you know, that you can pray without even talking with words, without even your mouth, just with your heart, just with your mind. You know, with your thoughts, with your intentions, and you will be heard. So we assume. But in my life, I've seen that. I have seen without doubt, you know, I'm somebody, I'd like to think that I pray, but in my own way, but I know that in my own way that when I've seen that I'm really in the shit, that something magical happened, a miracle happened, and without doubt. So if that's happened maybe 10 times in my life, which has happened a lot more than that, then there's obviously some method to this. I'm saying not just to my praying, but like the need and the desire that for myself I need something to change, and lo and behold that situation changes, right? Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, whatever that means, right? Or for more of the grace or more of the challenge, whatever it might bring. That timing has been so much there and happens enough times for me to say without doubt, okay, that this is orchestrated, that there is, it has to be orchestrated. Now, when I get a flat tire and I'm in the middle of a busy, dangerous town and I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, that doesn't seem part of the plan, obviously, okay? When somebody close to you is diagnosed with an illness, or when you're diagnosed with an illness, it doesn't seem to be part of the plan. And so you see where I'm coming back to. It's like this challenge is very hard. This life is very hard for that very reason. Because we feel vulnerable a lot of the time, and because we feel alone, and because we feel that there is no meaning, and because we don't feel that we loved, and we don't think that we aided and we guided in those moments. But aren't those moments necessary to experience? Which is, I can't even, it's so hard to speak about. Isn't those moments, because without those moments you wouldn't know your strength, you wouldn't know your depth, you wouldn't know how strong you are. You know, you wouldn't know how much you can endure. On my battery, sorry folks. I'm working with old camera here. You wouldn't know. So this is the contrast and this is the duality. And so what I'm saying, ending off here, I suppose, is that I can talk the talk, but I can't necessarily walk it. I think I've been walking it pretty well. But I'm afraid as the next person that something can come around the corner that really pushes my buttons, really tests me to the limit, tests me to my core, and I can't make head or tail or make sense of what's happening or how unjust it is, or there's no reason to it or something. I can't handle it, and where will that leave me? Will I become bittered? Right? Will I become vengeful? Will I become dark? Right? Will I become indefinitely despaired? Lost? Hopeless? You know? I've always thought about that. I always think about it. I'm sure you folks out there do as well. And that's just the way that it is. What can you do? What can you do? So I just hope that, and you know, that I have the strength and I have the courage and I have the willingness. But it's hard, folks. It's like, it's easier said than done, obviously. And it's like sometimes the way that what I've had to deal with sometimes has been so brutal. It's like, I don't want any of that anymore. You know, you just don't want it to be repeated. Just come on now. Don't let that be repeated, you know. Or something like that. Or you lose a limb. Heaven forbid, you lose one of your senses. It's real, folks. You know, that's the vulnerability of it. And then, so it's, you see, this is tough. This is the struggle of existence, and the importance of learning just to go with it, to march on. It's always moving forward. So whatever it may be, march on and put you and face the music, you know, and carry on, and not only that, but the importance along the way within these moments where we're not too much tested or directly or intensely, that we realize that, hold on a minute, through what we've been through, we've able to manifest and create and brought forth a real muscle of courage and commitment and growth and substance, you know, and confidence and sexiness and, you know, heartfulness. I mean, it hasn't just been a wreck and ruin the whole way. If you've gotten to where you are today, you've fought long and hard, you know. You haven't gone down with the ship. And so that's the sense of confidence that I want to talk about, is that when you know that you've been able to fight so many battles and challenges and come through so pretty much okay, then you know that you got some grit about you. You know, you've got that, and you know that, you know, you've done it. It's like, you know, I accomplished that. I overcame that addiction. I put up that boundary. I got over that self-doubt. I got over my jealousy or insecurity. I got over that. I mean, that person passed away, you know, very close to me, my lover, and I learned something from it, and I took something from that, and I shared my story with others, and I helped other people with my experience and whatever it was, and something beautiful, something wonderful, something majestic has come forth within me and through me, through this hardship, through these hardships. And so when it's not raining on your parade, you know, when the day is pretty sunny, whatever it is, then, you know, you can bask in that. And it's important to bask in that, you know, in the richness of your becoming and what you've gone through and whatever, and how far you've made it. So it gives you, again, more grit. It gives you more muscle. It gives you more confidence. And it helps you stand more upright to continue facing the music and the challenge at hand. And again, those moments where you look around and there's nobody, and like I said in the beginning of this talk, and you're on your own, and you're like, well, why am I in this situation? This is wrong. I didn't bank on this, I didn't count on this, I didn't want this, right? And in a way, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but it's still part of the plan. It's not for nothing. It's not for nothing. And it's not just being unkind for the sake of being unkind. It's not just cruel for the sake of cruelty. I mean, we're talking about animals suffering on this planet, people suffering on this planet tremendously. We're talking about Gaia, the trees, the insects, right? The environment, the seas, the rivers, all being dealt a cruel hand, so to speak. It's not for nothing, folks. You know, it's not for nothing. Deforestation, it's not for nothing. Extinctions of how many species, it's not for nothing. The whole suffering of history, of people, you know, whatever that's gone on, it's not for nothing. It's not for shits and giggles. You know, it's for something that we can't comprehend. We can't comprehend. So that's what we've got to be in touch with. The majestic, the possibility, the potential, the love, right? The confidence, the inner and upper, you know, I'm saying outwardly. The narrative, the meaning, right? But the majesticness of it and the plan of your story, of your tailor-made narrative. A lot of it has also been made out of your own decisions, whether they've been conscious or unconscious, whether they've been done in fear or not in fear. So you have tailor-made some of your world, and you've manifested your reality to some degree through your choices, or lack of choices. So it's not, no, you're not just a puppet on a string, you're not just part of a fate type of thing, it's not just fate. Right? You also have a part to play in it, where you need to be responsible for. The part that we're not so much in control with, and it's part of our destiny, we need to have an allowing for, and we need to have a surrendering for, and we need to have an open-heartedness for, and we need to have a strength for and a courage for, because that's what's required. Folks, with that I wish you well. Thank you for being part of my journey, and thank you for playing your part, because it means a hell of a lot to me, and for me at least it's huge. It really is huge. So I thank you and I appreciate you, and I'm wishing you everything of the best. Take care.